What's going on, everybody? This is Lady Luck. All right, we got to go over a few things from tonight's board meeting with Dolton, and we're gonna check out Lavelle's YouTube channel. Yummy. And we're going to also kind of go over, I think, some of the questions that I know I've received regarding Keith Freeman, some comments about why he's still there and blah, blah, blah. Well, there's a reason, and I'm going to get to that. So let's go ahead and dive into this. Let's check out. Just I'm not gonna play the whole thing of the Dalton meeting, but I'm just gonna play the parts that matters the most. So in the beginning of the video, of course, we were all kind of fixated on trying to see if Lavelle was there, and if he was there, get Alicia to go over and talk to him and all that good stuff. Yeah, it was fun. We're thirsty like that. But I enjoyed just being able to look at him. He was wearing a sharp three-piece suit, some nice shoes, and just looked good and sexy and all that good stuff. Let's not take away the credit of a good-looking, sexy black man, because we are not going to do that. Or a sexy man in general. Yep, nope. You get the credit he deserves. All right, so let's get to this. And I like I said, I want to check out his snip in the beginning because he does mention his channel's name, which we will get to at the end. But let's go.
Hey, how are you? Hey, tell me what you got. Well, first of all, check him out, y'all. Okay, he gonna come correct if he don't do anything else in this lifetime. Tell us
Yes,
about your YouTube channel. You got a YouTube channel, right?
Yes, I just started up with a good friend.
Look at it.
Currently promoting it.
Yummy.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a few things on there. Workout DVDs.
Yeah, because I don't know how this music.
Yeah.
Workout
DVDs. A couple of my TV shows and the business that I recently started, which is greeting card business. We make really personal-based greeting cards. Yeah. So I'm working out.
Hey, what about those commercials you be doing with Buju and Dana? What's their names? Okay, and what's his co-host name?
Dana Blacker.
Where can you find those videos?
On YouTube.
Okay, all right. Johnny Billionaire on YouTube. Man, them things be having me weak. Okay.
Well, I'm glad they have her week because I'm just not hearing about it. So we're gonna check it out at the end because I did find his YouTube channel. And we're gonna skip to the part about the vote regarding a specific lawsuit that the board wants to add her on. So I'm trying my best to get to that part as close as possible because it kind of went really fast after their executive session. Like I said, you guys can please go on Alicia Nicole's website, check out the entire video on her website, then leave a like button and subscribe. So to show her some love, she goes out and records these meetings and stuff. But I just want to touch on this last bit that they talk about so we can get to the court doc.
She didn't show up. She probably not gonna.
Aye. Okay, next is a motion to name Mayor Hilliard as third party defendant in the lawsuit with Metro Media versus Village of Dolton. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Okay, motion is trustee Belcher, second trustee Tammy Brown. Any discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Trustee Tammy Brown. Aye. Trustee Norwood.
Aye.
Trustee Stan Brown.
Aye.
Trustee Belcher. Aye. Mayor Pro Tem House.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Okay.
So what you just heard was a motion to have Super Stupid listed as a third party on the lawsuit between Mitch Media and the Village of Dolton. So I went on ahead and looked that up to see what it was because it was so fast. I didn't really catch what he said until I had to slow it down and put the captions on. But I did find it. So if you see here, share this tab. I want to make sure everybody can still hear me. Y'all, this is my second time recording this video. Because the first time I did it, it had no sound and I was irritated. But we are good to go now. So if you look at the documents here, this is on Trellis Law. And this is Metric Media LLC, doing business as or D/B/A, South Cook News, plaintiff versus Village of Dolton, defendant. This is case number 2024, C is in cat, H is in house, 09275. So basically, and I read over this lawsuit, it is about 60. It's a pretty lengthy one, as you all can see. And of course it should be when you're, bringing forth a complaint against someone violating, a federal law. It has to be detailed as possible. This is what, 135 points that they stopped at. There's more after this, but this was just ending at 135. All right, so let's go back up to the beginning, just kind of skim over some of this information here. The complaint was filed by Metric Media LLC, doing business as South Cook News. South Cook News, and they're basically alleging that the Village of Dolton had to be forced, or they're requesting that they're forced into compliance with the Illinois Freedom of Information Act, and this is codified under the the state statute 5 ILCS statute 140/1. So when you see ILCS, that is a state statute code. That's how Illinois codes or codified statutes are written out and abbreviated. And they're basically alleging that they, filed a complaint for, a FOIA request for some documents, and they didn't receive it. So you can see under the parties, jurisdiction, and venue that it is proper and correct. And I'm just kind of going to go with, just touch over one of the things that can, alleging here. And you guys can take the time to read this out. This is why I show where I'm getting this information from. This is trellis.law. But Metric Media is a mass media organization committed to providing comprehensive, accurate news coverage on local government affairs, and is a news media organization as defined by FOIA Section 2F in the business of inter alia, or reporting on local news and events. So they were basically just trying to get some information to report on. And for some reason, they were denied that. I don't know why. So we have a new administration now. Everybody should be able to get their 4-year request fulfilled and no questions asked. And they bring up the Illinois Freedom of Information Act. They explain what it is. And then they go into how the act or the federal law was broken itself. And of course, they cite law and case law to supplement it. I don't want to read this whole thing because it's just a lot to read. And you guys can read for yourselves. Reading is fundamental. I know. But I just kind of want to highlight what this case was about. And this was the case that Mayor House, was speaking of in relation to adding Super Stupid as a third-party vendor. Because as you can see, the defendant was just Village of Dolton. She wasn't listed on it. So, which is a good move because now it takes the burden off of them, because more than likely, none of them did that. None of them were the ones running around saying, hey, don't give out people's, 4-year requests. Don't do it. Keep it to yourself. All this stuff. She always talked about transparency and accountability and then wanted to keep secrets. That's not how it works, Super Stupid. It's not how it works. So basically, they took it to court. You didn't follow the FOIA laws. You were supposed to send us this information or send us a reason why you couldn't do it, but they didn't have a valid reason to not do it. So there you go. And like I said, you guys, I implore you to go on trellislaw.com and check out this information here. If you put in, let me show you what you can put in. If you Google it by Metric Media LLC DBA South Cook News, it should come up. But you can just do Metric Media and shorten it and see what happens with that as well. But it's a lot of pages here. And I mean, this is just going up to count 10. They weren't done. They get 10 counts and they were not finished. So, um, Super Stupid has infringed upon constitutional rights on so many levels of others. It's not even funny. So I wouldn't be surprised if someone filed a lawsuit because of the 48 Act. It's just crazy. All right, moving on. So this is just a recap from ABC Eyewitness News and just kind of going over what happened with the meeting. Basically, it was just her being another no-show again. The final village board meeting before Jason House takes the mayoral position. Many residents have already tuned her ass out, as rightfully so. I mean, yeah, pretend like she doesn't exist. Because she doesn't. She doesn't. Wait a minute. Okay. And of course, Kiana Belcher used her epic Dolton United. We can make that a hashtag, let it trend, because she, of course, now believes that everybody is there for the right reason. They can get some things done, which they did. And that, Dolton can come together when they need to. Get rid of the cockroaches. Come together. I think I expected her to be a no-show. I don't expect her to show up for anything else, to try to do anything else at this point. She knows it's over. She knows why. Of course, resident comments were made, or public comments were made. Thelma Price stated, I think it's important that we try to heal and not take old baggage into our new journey. Kiana Belcher, of course, stated Dolton United. The mayor-elect, Jason House, who won more than 95%. Yeah, more than 95% of the vote. 95% of the vote. Approved more than 12 business licenses that owners claim were held up by the village. More than 12. So that means he got at least 12. 12. And no, they didn't have to pledge their allegiance to him. He did his job. And of course, he talked about the infrastructure needing help and spoke on the retaliation and the blowback, which is over. They also started the process of obtaining a forensic audit of the police department, water department, and housing departments, which are all needed because the public has to have trust in their police. And I'm so glad he is doing that. Hopefully he'll unveil and figure out that he needs to revitalize the entire police department just to kind of get things back on track there. It'll be a good sign anyway. Don't let the corrupt cops stay. Just don't do it, bro. It will give us some clarity on what we don't know regarding the forensic audit. Belcher said the meeting comes days after parts of Dolton saw flooding last week. So this will help them to be able to take control of the finances and know what they can and cannot spend money on and all those types of things. But you do not see in here somebody got up and bashed Super Stupid a chicken head about it. Nope, not necessary. So that's pretty much the bulk of that article. I want to get over now into here is why Keith Freeman is still working it. Okay. So in another defeat for Super Stupid, Village of Dolton Mayor Pro Tem Jason House, trustees Norwood, Belcher, Brown filed for a restraining order against Dolton Mayor Tiffany Hinyett on her unlawful appointments to police chief, village administrator, and village attorney. In order for her to have attempted to get a new village attorney, that would mean that she would have had to fire the old one. And that's what she did. She tried to fire Keith Freeman. And then it took an injunction and a TRO to get her to stop the nonsense before he could fully come back into the building and come to work. So, in another defeat, they filed the restraining order against her and her unlawful appointments. The court granted the temporary restraining orders and voided those recent appointments, stating that those stated those individuals do not work for the village of Dolton, and restrained Henry's 3 voided appointees from attempting to work at the village. And I do believe one of them was the village attorney. So Jason House penned an op-ed saying he was grateful for the ruling, and it was a victory. She still tried it anyway, and she failed miserably. She tried and she failed. You failed, girl. You failed. All right, so that's the article on that. They did grant the injunction, the TRO, for the trustees, so that we have a 3 separate but co-equal branches of power here, and that's of course our executive. We have the legislative and the judicial branch, and when one gets out of line, the other 2 supposed to reel them back in. So it's just I'm glad that the courts at least stepped in and intervened the way they should have. So either way, let's move on to this. Was the oh no, where did it go? This was the actual court document. Okay, here we go. So this is the petition that they filed, the motion they filed for the TRO and preliminary injunction. So if you see here, let's just read this paragraph. Beginning July 2024, Village Administrator Freeman started issuing directives to village employees to comply with certain laws and ordinances passed by the village board. For example, Freeman notified employees that all requests from Super Stupid for services, documents, and deployment of resources were to be made in writing, directed department heads to remove all signage containing Super Stupid's name and likeness in accordance with the village ordinance, instructed department heads that all village expenditures incurred by the mayor's office must be approved by the board of trustees, advised the police department that mayor's security detail had been revoked by the ordinance, directed the issuance of permits to the Dolton Park district that had been held up by the mayor for no legitimate reason. Oh Lord, she just break laws left and right. And advised department heads that Tiffany here cares vehicle stickers would no longer be sold by the village. So as you all can see, he was named in this as a person she was trying to terminate out of retaliation. And I didn't see anything in this report where it said that he would have to wait till the new administration come in to have him fired. So I didn't see that, but maybe I missed it. But either way, this was the document that led to him still maintaining his job. He got to keep his job. And honestly, at this point, I just want him to cooperate with the FBI. So, and now when the FBI is done with him, they'll say, all right, we done with you. Bye. God be with you. Because now it's just open season and whatever happens, happens, right? But here you have a clear example of, it's not just because he's being terminated out of retaliation. It's the fact that, you're trying to terminate him because he decided to flip. So now he's under this Whistleblower Protection Act, and he doesn't want to go to jail. He doesn't. So this is the reason why he's going to be working there until they say so. Whoever they are, whether it be the courts or the FBI, it doesn't matter. But this is pretty much what he's going to be doing. This is the job. All right. So let's get to, and I want to make sure I pull this up correctly because it is imperative. Just imperative. So if you all can see, this is Lavelle's channel, Johnny Billionaire. Okay. He's got 14 subs. So please make sure you go on his channel and subscribe and like his videos and stuff. Let's get that in the algorithm. I've seen this because it's my second time recording it, but it's still funny. It's still funny. But you guys make sure you show him some love down there. He's doing some things and making things happen. Yay. All right, we're going to check this out. They get them names.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of Underworld Untold. I'm your host, Buddha Bante Alibaba Nabo Dabi Jackson. Joining me tonight is my lovely co-host, Dana Placo.
Hi, Buddha.
Everybody's complaining about their property taxes increase and they needed the help. Why not help the people right now when you can't do it? People always doing this talking. That's why I call them fake politicians. I can't stand a fake politician.
Apparently, neither can the Dolton residents, which would explain why you've gotten voted out.
It's time to move on and let the youth lead the community.
With one foot in a grave and the other on a banana peel, pending an ongoing FBI investigation, self-proclaimed super mayor Tiffany Henyard, now being dubbed super loser after this week's huge loss, has once again made headlines after locals captured a
Yeah, I'm hearing Lavelle's voice come through, and it's just so deep and sexy. I don't know where he got the name from for this character here, but that's something else. Ute can refer to several things. Oh man, I like this video. This is funny.
And let the youth lead the community.
With one foot in a grave and the other on a banana peel, pending an ongoing FBI investigation, self-proclaimed super mayor Tiffany Henyard, now being dubbed super loser after this week's huge loss, has once again made headlines after locals captured a mysterious photo of Henyard holding what appeared to be an obituary of her own career. Apparently feeding the people was an admirable gesture, but starving the board, not so much.
Amazing
Lord.
footage, Buddha. In other news, pandemonium broke out at a Dolton funeral home election night when residents say a man who was revered as a tough Tiffany Henyard critic mysteriously rose up from a casket during his own funeral to go live and celebrate the win of both Napoleon Harris and Jason House, including both officials' entire slate, before apparently dropping back dead with a smile on his face. A woman suffered heart failure while another man shit his pants. One local gave comment requesting only that her name, Jason House, including both officials' entire slate, before apparently dropping back dead with a smile on his face. A woman suffered heart failure while another man shit his pants. One local gave comment requesting only that her name remained anonymous, saying, "She hasn't seen such chaos since Kamal Woods nearly lost his cabbage during the Thornton Township brawl." A sit on this morning's news, I'm Dana Placo.
And I'm Buddha Bante Alibaba Nabo Dabi Jackson. And this has been another episode of Underworld Untold.
Oh my God. Oh my goodness. Oh man, that was funny as hell, y'all. Listen, I watched this second time. It's just as funny as the first. I love a comment. I said flat out, I have to be a voiceover on this. Please, Lavelle. I left my email in the chat, baby. So he email me and let me know when you ready. This is epic. I love it. This is the best clapback ever. Just, don't see it, comment type clapback. I love it. All right. I hope you guys go on his channel and subscribe for Alicia Nicole's channel. Dave Solo was there tonight. We saw her, Messy Michonne, Hannibal, AG Tactical, all the people that were recording and live streaming tonight's meeting. Make sure you show them some love and go to their videos and like their videos as well. But this was hilarious. I would like to see his channel monetized by the end of the week, so we can get 1,500 people to go over to Lavelle's channel and monetize his channel. That would be fantastic. I had fun. I don't know about y'all. Gotta get a good laugh in every so often. This was hilarious. Either way, y'all make sure you all take care of yourselves and each other. I had a good time. I hope you guys learned something and enjoyed this. I enjoyed the hell out of it. And I'll see you all in the next video. Deuces.